Brighton have signed Greek wonder kid Stefanos Tzimas, who's been quietly making waves in the German second tier this season. But who is he and what can we expect from him at Brighton next season? Hello and welcome back to INMR, where in today's podcast I'm going to be explaining exactly how Tzimas will fit into Brighton's squad and his style of play. Before I introduce him though, there is something I need your help with. So some of you may know I am a student journalist, so a lot of the work I do for my website and for the podcast is from home. But currently at my university there is a competition where you can win press box tickets to the Brighton vs Fulham match in March. The way to win those is that we'll be doing a live blog on February the 12th, that's Wednesday, and it's a live blog for the Club Brugge vs Atalanta game. It's a 5:45 kickoff, so my live blog will be starting at about 5:30, and all I need you to do to help me get those press box tickets is to interact with that live blog. Come along, look at the updates. There's going to be interaction boxes where you can put your score predictions in, the next goal scorer, loads of stuff going on there. But by people interacting, it increases my chances of being able to get those press box tickets. And in return for you, that means I can bring you much better matchday content for the Albion. I'll have access to the press conference, I'll have a bird's eye view at the stadium, which means tactically I can bring you a far better podcast on the Monday morning. There's loads of benefits this would have for both my experience and my ability to give you better Brighton content, so if you can help out with that, it's very much appreciated. Wednesday the 12th of February at 5:30, it will be on my website, a proper link will come out close to the time, but yeah, that's the plan, so if you can help out it'd be very much appreciated. Now, back to Tzimas, which is what we're all here for. So the 19-year-old started his career with PAOK in Greece, where he came up through their youth system. After an impressive season last year, he got the move to Bundesliga 2 side Nürnberg, and this season, in just 17 appearances, Tzimas has scored 10 goals. He did catch the eye of Liverpool earlier on in the window, but it was Brighton who sealed the deal for £20.8 million. Tzimas has returned to Nürnberg on loan until the end of the season, but he will be properly integrated into the Brighton squad over the pre-season in time for the 2025-26 season. The Greek striker is a big physical presence who is also technically great on the ball. As Brighton aim to bolster their attacking options, especially in the number 9 spot, it seems that Tzimas will be an excellent heir to Danny Welbeck's throne. So, now that we know a little bit about him, let's get into his style of play. Tzimas is a dynamic forward known for his clinical finishing and ability to read the game well. This season he's outscored his XG by 1.76 and he's got the most shots on target in the league with 32. His intelligent movement allows him to find and exploit spaces both inside and outside the penalty area. Tzimas uses his physicality to play with his back to goal and link play with teammates. He can also use quick turns to beat his marker if needs be. From his heat map you can see here, Tzimas does like to cover a lot of ground, often dropping into those midfield areas to support the build-up. When he drops, Tzimas drags defenders out of position to create space for his teammates. His strength and technique paired together makes him very difficult to dispossess, meaning when he drops in to receive the ball, he'll usually find a way to hold on to it and find his next option, very similar to what we've seen Jorginho Ruta do this season. On the counter, Tzimas makes powerful and dangerous runs up the pitch, something that I believe Brighton have lacked this season. I mean, how many times have we seen Brighton definitely a clear counter and João Pedro holds it up and tries to be tricky and clever? That's often not what we need. We just need him to drive towards goal, and instead he stops, tries to take on the player, just drive at goal. But with Tzimas this won't be a problem. Out of possession, Tzimas is an active and tenacious presser. He hassles the opposing centre-backs relentlessly and frequently capitalises on their errors. In an intense pressing system like Hürzeler's, this will work a treat. He ranks in the top 11% of Bundesliga 2 strikers for tackles won, the top 19% for duels won, and the top 25% for possession won in the final third. His first 6 months at Nürnberg have shown that he is a high-frequency shooter, averaging 4 per game, and he comes alive in the box. The Greek international averages 8.1 touches in the opposition box per 90, which is the highest figure in the league. Out of all Bundesliga 2 players to have registered at least 300 touches this season, Tzimas has the highest proportion of those inside the penalty area with 23%. In terms of his suitability to the current Brighton side under Hürzeler, Tzimas looks a solid fit. His playing style aligns perfectly with Hürzeler's tactical principles. Hürzeler focuses on controlling the game, maintaining that high back line and having numerical advantages in the midfield. Tzimas' intelligent movement and knack for dropping into midfield aligns perfectly with these tactical ideas. In the build-up, we've seen Hürzeler use some formations that involve lots of rotations and players dragging opponents away to create space for other teammates. Tzimas often disrupts the opposition defence by doing just that, which would allow Brighton to play through the press and control the game's tempo. Without the ball, Hürzeler's side press aggressively and maintain that high back line to minimise spaces between defence and midfield. Now, this hasn't always worked at points this season. There's times where we definitely should have been more careful with our approach, but that's what he's gone for. And in terms of what he can do in the front line, Tzimas' relentless pressing and pace align with that perfectly. His defensive work rate would add loads to Brighton's counter-pressing efforts. In the final third, Brighton aimed to exploit those spaces between the opposition fullback and centre-backs, using underlapping runs from the centre attacking midfielders. The Greek forward's versatility and clever movements would enable him to facilitate those runs and even potentially get himself in those dangerous areas to create a chance. His ability in the box with both feet and his head would add a whole new dimension to Brighton's attack. This season we've seen players like Karim Matoma, Yankuba Minty float crosses into the box and nobody attacks them. However, with Tzimas, he can provide that aerial threat to ensure Brighton actually do something with the crosses that are played into the box. And for more on how Hürzeler's tactics work at Brighton, check out the full podcast by clicking the link in the description. Overall, Tzimas' style of play appears to suit the Brighton setup perfectly, and he should naturally excel in Hürzeler's system. So to wrap things up, Stefanos Tzimas seems a statement signing for Brighton. Although I believe the defence should have been focused on more this January, the Greek striker is still a fantastic appointment in my opinion. He's young, intelligent and technically gifted, but more importantly he fits the tactical blueprint that Fabian Hürzeler is trying to put in place, and if Hürzeler is sacked before the end of the season, Tzimas still has that perfect profile that would suit most tactical approaches. His ability to drop deep, link play and attack space would give Brighton a new dimension in the final third, whilst his pressing intensity will be crucial for the Seagulls out of possession. With the right development, Tzimas has all the right attributes to thrive in the Premier League, and if his performances at Nürnberg are anything to go by, Brighton may have just secured their long-term number 9. That is where I'm going to end today's podcast, but there are plenty of others you can go and listen to. For more content, be sure to check out my website, that's INMRfootball.co.uk. On there you can find match reports, live blogs, club updates and so much more. And if that's not enough, INMR is also on X and Instagram, so you can follow me on both of those platforms for more daily football content. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.